Well, maybe it's not going to go there. Up there it goes. All right, there we go. All right, welcome to Wednesday night Team Blaney After Dark. I'm Steve Mez, and tonight we've got a special episode. Um, we brought in somebody from the bullpen here to help us out a little bit tonight, give us something different to talk about in the racing world, and that is Justin Bosch from Team Penske. How do we want to put it? The lead transport driver for Porsche Penske Motorsports, or do you have other
That sounds
titles?
good. I'll take that for right now.
For right now. Well, we'll get into that. There's a lot more to it than just that, and that's so for the people who are just joining in tonight, Justin has been one of our earliest supporters of what Adam and myself have been doing here with Team Blaney, and it kind of goes back to the first year we started doing the podcast, and that's season 1, episode 40. If you guys want to go back and actually listen to that whole thing, but we'll try to give you some of that and some new material of what Justin's been doing in the years since then. Still working for Penske, still doing fabulous work over there, and we'll talk about some of the trophies and so forth as we go. But go back to the beginning here of joining Team Penske. How long ago? What year? I mean, did you start working with them, and how'd you work your way up? Kind of like a little brief history, if you could.
Been there since 2012. Started on the IndyCar side. Uh, won Indianapolis 500. Won multiple races in IndyCar. Had the opportunity to help out on the NASCAR side for a couple years, and which led to my opportunity to move over to the Cup side full time. Um, won the Cup championship, and then teamed up with Blaney. Actually, I teamed up with Blaney first that year in 18.
Mm-hmm.
And then halfway through the year, I got swapped over back to Joey's car. Won the championship that year, so can't say it wasn't a bad deal. But then the 2 years later, obviously we did the big crew swap, and I got swapped back over to Blaney, and that's where we met up, and did that till 22, and then at towards the end of the year 22, I started transferring over to the Porsche Penske Motorsports side to take over the transportation department as a lead transport driver, and won 2 Daytona 24s, won a championship, multiple races. So it's been pretty
So you
successful so
you go
far.
back. Well, I'm gonna go. Yeah. So I wanted to go back real quick to the Indy to start the whole thing, because you worked with what, Elio, Juan Pablo, Simon Pagino, even at some point
AJ
there.
Allmendinger.
You won an AJ too. Okay. You won an Indy
Yeah,
500, right?
yes, sir.
What
2015
year was
with
that?
Montoya. In 2015.
Montoya. Now you started out though. You wanted to be like on pit crew, right? You were working toward learning how to pit cars, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I was my first year. I was like a pit support guy, and then I became the air
Mm-hmm.
jack guy with Allmendinger, and that was a partial season, which then led to me full time in the following year when Montoya came on full time. So
What
that was
is
pretty
that
fun.
job? What is that job? I mean, you're actually working
So
on
the air
getting
jack,
you jack the car up with.
yes, it's a wand that's with air. I mean, basically you plug the wand into a coupler, and the pneumatic jacks lift the car up, and as the air jack guy, you pull the rear tire, um, which helps the outside rear uh, changer because he obviously has to run around the car. It helps him speed up his pit stop
Mhm.
also. So you're kind of like the quarterback, but not really, because obviously your lead mechanic would be the quarterback, but I mean, You can't change tires unless the car comes up in the air, and the car can't leave unless you drop the car. So
So how do you get from that to becoming a transport driver? How did you get from that fitting cars to
I
moving
s-
them too?
well, I started at Penske as a transport driver. That was my primary job, and
Oh,
I was lucky enough to be um, able to become a pit crew member because obviously there's only X amount of people that can go over the wall, and you know
mhm.
you'd bring there probably could be 10, 12 people per car, and you're one of the 5 people that go over the wall. So that it takes some practice and dedication to do it, but I did it and I was determined enough to do it, and
I, jumping over the wall just scares me overall. Anything that's over the wall.
it's nerve-wracking.
Um,
Especially like air jack guy, you have your back face to the cars behind you. So and while you're doing a pit stop, you're not paying attention to what's behind you really. You're trying to focus on making sure, all your changers have their wheel nuts on, all tires, make sure all the tires are tight and trying to get the car dropped as fast as you can so you can gain spots on pit road, not obviously not lose any.
so now as you transition into the NASCAR side of the building, you've got you worked with basically everybody. Brad, right? You had Brad for a little
Yes, I
bit,
did.
Joey, and then back and forth with Joey and
Yes.
Ryan. Um, Now it's kind of cool because I noticed that a lot of guys we've talked to in the past have had that experience there at Penske where you work with this a little bit and then maybe you end up over here for a while, and they do a good job of like putting a team together
Yeah.
basically. Um, when you get to the Porsche part of things, when did that? I mean, was that something that Roger was just starting to build? Because I don't remember the Porsche program really early on.
Well, it started back when they were running the Acura program. Um, at the end of the tenure with the Acura program, there was s- talks of saying that, we will continue in sports car, just not right at that time. And um, I knew the program was getting ready to ramp back up in 22. I knew we had
Mhm.
um, teams over testing in Europe, and I raised my hand and said I'd like to be a part of that. And I saw a way of myself growing in the company, and so I was able to transfer over to the Porsche side and um, as the lead transport driver, and which basically makes you in charge of all the trucks that travel to and from the track with the sports car team.
That for those who don't know, they're part of the IMSA racing series here in
Correct.
America. And there's how many they drive? There's two cars,
Yes, we
correct?
have two cars. Obviously, my
Uh,
background, the 6 car and the 7 car
yeah,
in
right.
the Grand Touring prototypes, which is the GTP or the Le Mans Daytona Hybrid um, class. It's the top class in the IMSA series. So
That's what I was gonna say. There's like what 3 or 4 classes, right? So they're basically the fastest cars of the bunch.
yeah,
It starts off the season starts off with the 24 hours of Daytona, right? In January usually.
yes, we start in January, and then we have basically like the month of February off, but we're usually doing testing, and then so the Daytona 24 is in January. Then we go to the 12 hours of Sebring. Then we go out to Long Beach and do a double header with not a double header for us, but it's IndyCar and IMSA at the
Mhm.
same track, same circuit on the same weekend. We leave there, go to Laguna for the race, and then head back east to. I gotta think now of the schedule. um,
Mhm. I know there's Detroit. Detroit's in there
Yes,
somewhere,
Detroit,
'cause that's another.
then Watkins Glen, then Road America, then Indianapolis, and then Petit Le Mans. And I might have forgot something in between there. Maybe Le Mans.
Petit Le Mans. Where's
Petit Le Mans in
well,
Petit Le Mans in Atlanta. It's Road Atlanta.
Atlanta.
That's a 10-hour race.
Okay. So the first year you're with the program, I mean, you're not just in charge of the, the haulers, but you go into, there's always some other thing you have to do, and you begin with fueling, right? You begin with fueling the
Yeah, I
car.
started. Obviously, guys a bit younger than me were going over the wall, so I stood on the backside of the wall, but I was the dead man operator, which is it's a
Mhm.
valve that you open up, which releases fuel from the tank into the fuel hose. Um, Usually those are set to a time setting, and you try to release. There's a timer on it, and you try to release on double zeros. Um, I got pretty good at it. If I tried it now, I'd probably miss it by a few, but as long as you let more fuel in than not enough, you'd be all right.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was the next, like, where I was leading toward, like, what you do now, because actually you're actually, like, what would you say now? You're a spotter, and you actually, when you spot both cars,
Yes, I
correct?
do. Some events I'll do both cars. Some events I'll do one car. Um, Other events I'm uh, relaying info to the timing stand, which is the engineers and stuff, on what's going on.
And then tire strategy was the other thing you had told me before. You're actually one of the tire strategists now too, correct?
Yeah, I help with letting them know what's going on with other cars. Some try to give a little bit of information on what's going on.
Unlike the other motorsports, this one here, when you have a teammate, the two cars try to operate together, right? They try to work together as best they can to kind of like fend off other teams,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, obviously, you want your best car to win, whichever car's obviously running the best, you want them up front. But both obviously, all of our drivers are so competitive. They're obviously they both want to be in the front. Um, but
Hmm.
sometimes, we have to work together to make the best of the situation. And if that takes
Right.
sacrificing um, another lap out on the track to where we don't pit on top of each other, because obviously our pit stalls are together. So there's
Hmm.
only usually maybe a foot and a half gap in between the cars when they're both in the pit stall together. Um,
Well,
so trying to do all that and making sure, obviously, we don't wreck each other on pit road. Um, but sometimes we'll pit together, and you could do a swap on pit road if the 7 cars in the first pit stall and the 6 cars in front, the 6 car could slow down to where to let the 7 car pass, so that way they both can come in together the correct way instead of having to go around the teammate's car.
mhm. Yeah. So, we were talking about, like, 20, 23, 24, you're evolving the program, helping the program grow there. And then this year, uh, there was a whole new adventure in Europe.
Yeah.
How did when did they decide they were going to send Roger already has two teams that run in Europe, correct?
Yes.
Mhm. So when did they decide they were going to send a third team and send you and the guys over there?
So if you run the WEC series, you're a guaranteed spot in
Hmm.
the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Um, Now
Okay.
there are teams that are invited too that come from the IMSA series. Um, the past in 23 and 24, we did run a third car there also, and we were
Hmm.
invited. Um, but then if you win the championship, you get a guaranteed spot. So since we won the championship last year, we got guaranteed, our third car this year, and I was lucky enough to be one of the chosen few to get picked to go and to do something I haven't done in years and work on tires.
Okay.
And I was the actual tire guy for the car, and it was a bit different. But it was cool. It made time go by. Um, I felt once I got the hang of it, the first couple days, it was like clockwork.
Mhm. How does 24-hour races work? Because I know in past times, like Adam has went to the 24-hour Daytona. And I mean, do you are you pretty much awake the whole time because of the different things you have to do with the cars and what because they're moving the whole time, or do
Yeah.
you get a
So
chance?
no, Lamar. So Daytona is a bit different than Lamar is. Daytona, you go. Uh, It's actually they're the same but different. It's about an hour usually that a team will run before they do the next pit stop.
Hmm.
And but in Daytona you have a lot more darkness than you do in Lamar.
Oh,
In Lamar you have 5.5, 6 hours of total darkness. In Daytona you have 8, 9 hours of
right.
darkness.
Hmm.
So in Daytona you'll double stint tires sometimes, and if it's really cold, you might even triple stint tires, which means running 3 consecutive uh, stints, which
Hmm.
usually consists between 50 to 60 minutes. Um, you might run, 180 minutes on one set of tires. Unlike with NASCAR, most places you're taking tires at every pit stop. We would do 3 pit stops and then change a set of tires.
Hmm.
In Le Mans, you usually do about two. You would go two stops and change tires. Um, Sleep wise, Daytona, you can get a little bit more napping in as a crew member
Hmm.
than in Le Mans. Le Mans, it's just the track is so big. So usually it's about 13 laps, 12 to 13 laps, and then you're doing a pit stop. Um, Anything could happen at any time,
Right.
obviously. So if it happens in Le Mans, you have a lot more time to prepare. Obviously, if it happens, just past the start finish line or just past the pits, you have another 7.5 miles for the car to go before it gets back to the pits.
Wow.
Daytona, obviously, if it happens, it's usually within 2 minutes before the car is back. In Le Mans, it could be 7 minutes before the car gets back. Um, but it keeps you on your toes because um, you never know what's going to happen, obviously. And but as a tire guy in Le Mans, I didn't sleep at all. Um, I might have closed my eyes for maybe 10 minutes, but other than that, I was up the whole time. Air pressure is so so much of a priority in sports car racing. So anytime the track changes temperature, you're changing air pressures. So if ambient air temps outside change drastically and track temperature changes, there's so many formulas that they go by that it's a constant change in tire pressure. So I was basically doing tire uh, pressures until maybe 45 seconds before the pit stop. So
Wow, that's crazy good. So you know, Roger, puts the Porsche program together. Of course, you are basically there from the ground up on the Porsche part of it. Uh, how have you seen it progress? Like you and I talk every once in a while. I know that you've seen. I mean, you've already guys have won. How many races have you won in 2.5 years now?
I think we're close to between 12, 14, maybe 15.
Yeah.
This year we started the year off. we're batting 1,000. We won the first 4 races, and then in sports car racing they do a thing called balance of power, which is a computer generated program that basically takes your past couple races and your lap times and everything and generates what they could do to adjust, to make it more competitive, I guess, for
Hmm.
other manufacturers. Um, Here lately, we've not been on the great side of the BOP,
Right.
but as a team, we have great strategy. Our engineers and management have so much knowledge in the strategy. That way, we might not have the fastest car or not, but when it comes down to strategy and when to have the cars do a pit stop and what to do during the pit stop, when to do the driver change, because obviously in our series you have to have at least 2 drivers per car, and anything over 6 hours, you'd run 3 drivers.
Mhm.
So that's 3 drivers, 1 car, same setup. There's changes they can make in the car that can help their style of driving out, but it's not like you're not changing shocks, you're not changing um, springs, you're not making ride height adjustments. Um, it's basically all whatever they could do in that seat and
Mhm.
steering wheel wise, whatever the computer can help them do is what changes they can make. But they all basically get the same, they get the same car and make their little minor adjustments inside the car.
So you got, I mean, you've won Daytona 24 hours now. Um,
Twice.
twice. That's what I was going to say. How many times? Like twice there, a championship,
Yep.
right? Last year's. So
Last year.
like, yeah. Now with the points this year, like you said, you had mentioned that before to me, where they kind of equal the power out a little bit, take a little bit basically away, so that it
Yeah,
evens the field.
they'll add weight to your car with the LMDH program series or class. You have
Mhm.
virtual energy, and they could take away some megajoules from that, which don't give you as much virtual energy. Um,
Mhm.
so then obviously you would have to stop. You couldn't run as long in your stint. You would have to make your stint, a lap or two shorter because you don't have the full amount of megajoules or virtual energy.
Mhm.
I I joke around and call it fairy dust fuel.
So the next race is what Road America, right? Wisconsin.
Yep.
That's the next one.
Yep. Not this
Now,
weekend coming up, but the following weekend.
on the weekend. Now, all the stuff for those who don't know, all of the stuff is on Peacock, I believe, right? All your races are
Yes.
shown live. So anybody wants to tune in at any point in time can check it out on Peacock. Sometimes they put it on NBC too, right? Depending on what races.
I think the bigger races get put on um obviously mainstream, like the local channels. Yes.
Right. But live on Peacock, or Peacock's has stuff on
Affiliate.
delay too.
Yep.
You can watch back and watch it over. Um, so far, like with doing this whole other thing, I mean, of course, Road America was a NASCAR track, but what's one of the more cooler places you've been to, maybe non NASCAR wise, since you've been doing this?
Obviously Le Mans is a unique place. Um
Yeah.
but here in the US, non NASCAR track that's very unique. Road Atlanta,
Yeah.
hands down.
Oh,
I mean, it's the elevation changes, it's just a very unique track, very cool. The amount of fans that show up to this race, it's really cool.
I would say that was an interesting one because at one point, I guess NASCAR teams used to use Road Atlanta to test. Um,
Yeah, I'm sure they did. They probably used it to that way because you think before you couldn't really test at tracks that you raced.
right.
So I think they would go to different. Um, they would go there. They would go to I think down in Kershaw. There's a road course there that teams would test at. um, or they would go to VIR to shake down the cars. Sebring's a cool track. It's very unique, very bumpy,
Hmm.
um, historic. Uh, that used to be an old Army air base.
Oh, okay. I would say it's real flat, right? It's pretty flat for
Yes,
the most
yeah.
part.
So
The,
there's no
the, the,
elevation changes there.
no,
It's just like the state of
not like Road
it's
America.
correct. Not like Road America, not like um, Road Atlanta, not like who else? Watkins Glen has some elevation,
Mhm.
different elevation.
Have they have they thought about running? I mean, you guys don't run Coda, right?
No, WEC does. So the European
Okay.
series that they do.
Oh, they come over here. Okay, I didn't
Yeah,
realize
and
they came over here and did that. That's kind of
I
neat.
think that it's in August or September they run there. That's actually their next race is in Austin.
Okay. Now, when they come over here, do you guys do anything to support them from from where you guys are at, or?
We'll usually try to send a few people to Austin to help out. Um,
Mhm.
obviously we send like obviously upper level management goes to all the races or they try to make it to whichever one doesn't conflict. Um, but we'll go there to help with body work because obviously all their stuff gets shipped from Germany to the next track,
Yeah,
and so stuff might need to be rewrapped. Um, body work might need to be you know fixed up after a race or travel. You never know what can happen in travel.
yeah,
Um, so we usually go to help out with that, and then if there's any other things that we're able to do to help them, we would do it, obviously.
yeah. I would say when you went to France, did you guys actually fly your equipment over, or did you just use what was already?
No, the WEC team has they have multiple of everything because
Hmm.
obviously they went from France to Brazil,
Hmm.
and there's some stuff you obviously fly, but other stuff you put on sea freight, and it takes quite a while to get there. So if you have doubles of everything, what we raced in Brazil, they would obviously send it to not the next race, but the following race. They would already send it to that track.
Hmm.
Um, obviously the cars they get flown everywhere. Um, but so you're basically flopping equipment from, you know, like the Lamar stuff was obviously going to Austin. Um, and then because some stuff, I mean, they go up between they're in Abu Dhabi,
Hmm.
um, Qatar,
Wow.
Austin, Brazil, Lamar, Belgium. So I mean, they race across the world. That's why, I mean, that's obviously why it's called the World Endurance Championship.
Now the drivers are actually the same drivers, though, correct? You guys, I mean,
Well, we do have the WEX team has um, their four driver specific that
mhm.
are running full time there, and we have our four drivers that are running full time here. And then on obviously the long endurance races, we'll send we have one of our guys from each car um, usually go over there and jumps in one of those cars to help them be like the third driver, and vice
Yeah,
versa. When we
yeah. I would say.
race our endurance races, one of their drivers or two of their drivers will come over and help our two cars.
Oh, okay. I remembered something that was said about that. The guys
Yeah.
being on. Was it Nasser, or one of those guys? The guys were going over back and forth, and
Uh,
that's only one of.
Campbell and Matthew Gemini, Matt Campbell and Matthew Gemini, um, they do both series, but they're the third driver for the cars. So anything over 6 hours, they will obviously go help them.
for Le Mans with the extra team, who were the extra drivers they had there? Then they have somebody from another series or something?
Yes, we had Pascal Berline. He's from the Formula E team.
Oh, okay.
Um, so it was Nick Tandy, um, Felipe Nasser, and Pascal Berline. Those are our
Okay.
three drivers for the 4 car.
So so they were borrowed. He just borrowed it from Formula E. To
Yeah.
Roger
So
doesn't have Roger doesn't have a Formula E team, right?
no, 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 no. Um, obviously we're a manufacturer team,
Right.
so we get Porsche obviously has a lineup of drivers in their manufacture between different classes, different series. Um, so anytime they have their latest and greatest upcoming driver that they feel can um, that's possibly can be a asset, they would use them.
Mhm. Did now you? This was something that always happened early on the first year or two that you were there. I always would ask, are you with the sixth team or are you with the seventh team? But actually, you're with both teams, correct? I mean, the way it works, you're
So
actually working.
year one, I was on the 6 car.
Hmm.
Year two, I was on the 7 car. Towards the end of year two, and then this year, I'm on both cars. Obviously, if
Hmm.
I'll help out both teams in any way they need help. Um, the other transport drivers, they're on specific cars, but obviously we're all there to help as a team.
Right.
Um, so anywhere they really need help, but usually after a practice session, the transport drivers that are on the 6 will obviously clean the 6 car. The guys that are on the 7 will clean the 7 car, um, and prepare their their pit stalls and everything for the next session, car specific. Um, where it gets funny is I take both cars to and from the racetrack.
Oh,
So both
okay.
cars live in one trailer,
Oh,
um,
right.
or one transporter, excuse me.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
the other uh, the other transporter, it carries a lot of the equipment and spare body work. And then our third transporter, we take 4 usually everywhere except the West Coast. Our third one that's in the paddock is also um, more equipment, more body work, spare noses, spare tails, spare engine covers. And then the fourth transporter, it carries all of our extra stuff. Obviously, you see my background. Um,
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about next.
that's floor tile we lay down at every event that we build the awning. It's a 30-foot awning. Um, it goes from the complete rear of the transporter all the way to the front of the tractor, and 30 feet wide. We set up garage walling. Um, there's it's a it's pretty cool when you see it in person. It's pretty cool seeing it in a picture, but being in person, it's like, oh wow, like there's a lot of time and effort goes into it. In year
Yeah.
one, setting that up would probably take us 10 hours. Right now, we can do it in under 4, usually about 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
So
Once you do it a
we've
couple times,
oh yeah, when you get the same group of uh guys every week doing the same thing, it makes it go so quick. Um, I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times the first year I was like, we're never gonna get this done, like never. And then because you have obviously on setup day you lose a couple people too during setup because the cars need to go through tech. So the mechanics obviously have to leave their setup duties to go tend to the car going through tech. And tech's not as quick as NASCAR is. They scan your car, they check. I mean, there's a lot of checks that go on. Um, so now, usually when we get there, we can have the 10 up floor tile down in about an hour, hour and 20 minutes, and then beautifying it takes the rest of the time.
Yeah. Is that when you say the tile, is it like an interlocking tile? Is that what it is? It's like a
Yeah, it's
vinyl rubber?
it's hard plastic, hard rubberish.
Hmm.
Um, we have it set to where it's like a checkerboard style, but it's a darker gray with black and then red borders.
Which
So
matches all the Porsche.
there,
Yeah,
if you could see there, you can see it better.
yeah,
The red separates where the two cars would be,
they're sitting.
and those are the toolboxes behind the cars. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, basically, like during the week or before you go to a race, you've got to make sure that all that stuff that's that's in the toolboxes is ready, and all the extra, That do they
Yeah,
bring back up?
I usually
Go ahead.
let the mechanics take care of toolboxes because they're the ones that working out of it. Um,
Hmm.
Everything else is falls under me, like all the tent, all the awning, all the floor tile, garage walling, um, all the pit equipment. That falls under myself and the transportation department and the equipment guys. And obviously we're loading it, so we have checklists to make sure we have each and every item that is needed to get us through a race weekend.
Do
Sometimes we have too much.
okay. Do you get? I was saying when you're hauling cars, is there more than two cars? I mean, do you have like a backup car that you guys
We
bring
do
in
have a
case something
Yes, we do. It's usually in pieces. So you have your center section that's in one piece pre-built up. Then you have spare rear ends, and then we
happens?
usually go to the track every race with 4 sets of bodywork.
Okay,
So
that's so.
sorry, six sets of bodywork. So it's
Mhm.
your spare two spare sets per car.
Yeah. So I mean, if it's not too much damage, you can just put a different, put a newer fender on or something like that. It doesn't always have to be the whole
Correct.
car, as
No.
long as like roll cage is intact and
Yeah, it's a full
engine.
composite. It's a fully composite car. So everything's carbon fiber. Um, Usually during a race, if it's something like say you puncture a hole in the side of the car, we usually try to put some bare bond on the side,
Hmm.
um, cover the hole, and then but during practice, we would take it off. We would put a new piece on, and then we have composite guys that come to the track with us, so they would repair the bodywork that's broken, and that we would rewrap it and have it ready for race days to be as a spare.
I've heard like IMSA as a whole, like when you guys, let's say Road America coming up, it's a lot more fan accessible, I guess.
Yes.
People get to see a little bit more behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Um,
Usually, if you purchase a ticket with them, it almost guarantees you a garage pass, basically.
mhm,
Your ticket into the race basically gets you into the garage. And then obviously, like 2 hours before the race, they do a fan walk. So they open the gates and let all the fans come in, see all the cars, take pictures, see drivers, and then with about, I wouldn't say right before, they start doing their opening ceremonies and everything. They clear the grid, and eh, either you're in the pit, in the paddock area, or
mhm.
you're going back to the stands. But they clear the grid, and we have the open ceremonies and everything, and go racing.
So I'm challenging the people to watch tonight to make sure they go over and say hi to you next weekend. Tell them,
Definitely,
definitely like not only go say hi, but tell them you saw him tonight, on our show here, so that because that's the thing. Like, I haven't called you Fatback in a while. They still call you that? You still have the
yes,
nickname?
yes. So
So you
say
tell
if
people.
you walked up to our tent area in the paddock, and you say where is Justin around, they're gonna know who you're talking about. But if you say, "Hey, is Fatback around?" They'll know exactly who you're talking about, and they'll come get me.
Yeah. that's the thing. Like people don't know some of the Penske. You get nicknames sometimes, and I don't even, how did you get that nickname? Can you say it or no?
Yeah, I can. I started when I started in racing. A lot of my buddies called me Paco. When I got to Penske, they didn't. Some of the guys didn't feel like, oh, I don't think we should call you Paco. I was like, it doesn't offend me. It doesn't bother me anything. But
Mhm.
um, I'm a big pork rind eater. I love pork rinds, and
Okay.
the actual bag of pork rinds said Fatback on it. So I became Fatback, and here I am now, still called Fatback. And that usually, if I'm walking or something, and somebody says Justin, I won't pay attention. They
Right.
usually have to scream Fatback, and I'm like, oh, well, you're talking to me. Okay.
Yeah. I say there's a lot of Justins in the world, right? So it could
Yeah.
be, oh, me, maybe it's not. I just keep walking. But yeah, yeah. It's always one of the more unique nicknames I've heard. Um,
Yeah.
so
There's I'm the second Fatback in racing, I guess. Um,
mhm,
Fatback McSwain, he was a crew chief in NASCAR. Um,
yeah.
he's the legendary one. I'm just that guy.
Well, I mean, should be judged by, if you judge by wins and trophies, championships, you're not doing
Yeah,
too
this is true.
bad.
No, I fared well.
Yeah, I'll say, I thought you said like 12 wins in the last 2, 3 years, right? Roughly. And
Yes. Yeah.
champ,
One day I need to just go through and count exactly how many wins from day one till now I have, and I'm sure it's getting up there.
I started a spreadsheet with the times that my wife and I went to races just because it got to be at a point like, did we go to that race? I don't remember. What year was that? And I started to do that just to compile it. Like, and
Yeah,
it was amazing, like how many places we've been now, and we try to keep track of the tracks we go to and everything. But sometimes you can just kind of lose track. Um, my wife
definitely.
piped in on TikTok, and she said, "You're a legend to us," which is
Thank you.
which is true. That's the things like you've won an Indy 500, you've won a championship in NASCAR, and won a championship horse program. We need to find another. Roger needs to find another racing program put together so you can win a championship there too.
I'll take the Lamar win and do the mic drop, and
And then that would be it, right? Wouldn't that be something? What did you
yeah, I
guys
mean,
actually finish? What did you guys
we
actually
finished
finish?
second, sixth, and eighth. Um, so this was a great year for us in Lamar. This is the first year that all three of our cars finished the race.
Mhm,
And then, but for all three to finish in the top 10 and to be competitive, you know, all through the night, for the 24
mhm.
hours, um, says something to what we've done in 3 years as a team. So
That's the thing.
it's,
It's not a year to year thing. It's a program that you
yeah,
know. After
you build off of
you,
what you know, so, this year we've won 4 races. We probably should have won more, but that's
mhm,
not my business to talk about.
right,
um,
the politics of that, but
yeah. Uh, but say at the end of the year we have 6 wins. Our goal the following year is 7, 8 wins, or win them all. And that's obviously that's every team's goal is to always win every race. But to start a season winning the first 4 races um, says a lot, and then go to Lamar and be as competitive as we were, to fight with the Ferraris and the Toyotas and the Peugeots and Alpines and Cadillacs, and to only have one team really beat us was says a lot.
mhm. You I know that like we were talking about the social media stuff, but I know that you're only pretty much only on TikTok, right? or not
No.
TikTok, I'm sorry, Twitter. You're basically
Yeah.
on Twitter. So where can people find you on Twitter?
I don't even remember
Yeah, what the handle is now. I drew a blank too because it's at. I don't even know what mine is anymore. To tell you the truth.
it's at Fins Up 29.
Ends up fine. That's what I knew. It had to be a Miami Dolphin thing. You know.
Yeah.
That's how are they going to do this year?
I hope they do great.
No. I don't know.
Go Dolphins.
There it is. There's the logo.
Go Dolphins. Go Blaney. I missed the guys. I got to spend Sunday with them in Dover.
Mhm.
It was a very hot day. I think it was probably the hottest I've
Yeah,
ever been at a
that was
racetrack.
crazy.
So,
Yeah, it was crazy.
You know,
My
maybe
wife and I were there, and it was just brutal.
maybe I get a chance to help out
Yeah,
a
so
little bit
always
more
keep
this
an eye
year.
out. You never know when yeah, you might pop up at a NASCAR track once in a while too, just because well, they need the championship person there to help a little bit, so he knows how to win one. You know.
Well, they won one without me after the year after I left, but
Well,
I was fortunate enough to go to Phoenix and to help drive the hauler home and be able to celebrate with them was pretty cool. They actually
yeah,
included me in a lot of the pictures and everything. I mean, I miss the guys. Uh,
yeah,
just the 38, 39 weeks a year of travel, puts a toll on you. I like, being
yeah,
home for some weekends to, go enjoy my pool or, just watch the race on TV in
yeah.
the air conditioning.
It was cool that they did that though. That because you got to not only got to bring the hauler back, but the trophy. The trophy got to ride back home with you, and that was kind of cool to see too.
Yeah.
But you put the time in there that with the team and the program to begin with, so that was a cool part of it too. Is you got to be there to help them celebrate. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I've obviously, I've said I've done every series that we've run. I've been a part of. Um, I'm just glad to be with a company that can rely on me to fill in when needed and do things and trust me to you
Mm-hmm.
know to do what I do, and have all confidence in saying, hey, we need you to go fill in here this weekend. No questions asked. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
right to the racetrack I go, and it's like getting right back up on a bicycle
Yeah,
after you have
it's the what we call institutional memory.
yes,
Something that people don't sometimes even think about, but having somebody in the building who knows how it works and knows what needs to be done, and then just goes and does it anytime you need it. That's so important to everything they do over there to be tends to be perfect.
yeah,
So, uh, hopefully we run into you again soon. That's kind of on us because there's been one or two times where we've been planning on doing some things and then we just our plans kind of fell through. So I apologize for that.
no, things happen. I understand, and
I mean, the Detroit thing should have worked out both the last 2 years, and we just never put it together. Other things came up, but that's the closest one
some-
for us too. So.
sometimes your priorities take over. So um yeah, we'll definitely catch up. We'll be somewhere. You should come to the 24.
That's that would be kind of cool to do. That's a good time of year to leave the north.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
still cool down there, but it's not as cold as it is up north.
yeah. I would probably drive my wife nuts because we'd probably be in the middle of the night there. She'd be like, "Can we go back to the hotel?"
Well, she
But all the fun stuff seems to
you, you
happen at night.
you and Adam can stay overnight and watch the race through the night, and she can go back with Tara to the house and hang out.
That's probably would be a bad move. I'm sure she's. Let's see, people. I'm going back and forth. I've got our TikTok chat up here, and people are like, "Yep, do it. You got to go." My wife's probably going, yeah, we got to go. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah,
And like I
definitely.
said, if anybody sees you, just yell, "Hey, Fatback," and hopefully get a picture, and
Yeah.
or if not, like I said, catch up on Twitter because I know you always like to have a cool picture, especially when you guys win. You always do a cool picture
Yeah,
of everybody.
that's when I was on the Cup side. It was, I was taking pictures of the trucks before we left. My thing now with the IMSA side is uh, pictures from victory lane. So
Hmm. That's always a good place to find you. So
definitely.
yeah, thanks for doing this tonight. I don't know, like I said, before we got on here and started, we were just talking, and there are a lot of people who may have known you from when we interviewed you a couple of years ago, but to actually know you, get to see you, and kind of do a little refresher. And really, I wanted people to learn a lot more about the Porsche Penske Porsche program because uh, it really is kind of new, and it's really been successful. And I think you're a total key to the success. So,
I appreciate it.
hopefully, just keep helping them win. You know,
I'll try my best. I can
and
do it.
I think people need to know.
I was saying,
You're not driving the car, but you.
as long as I get it to the racetrack in one piece, um, and can do anything I could do to help the team be successful, leadership wise, or just keeping the morale up. That's my big thing. I like to be a jokester and keep the morale up. Um, joke around with the guys, the drivers. Uh, just makes them laugh and tries to make their day a little better. 'Cause some days can be really hard, especially if if it doesn't go the right way in practice, and either you're doing big changes, or say the worst happens and you get in an accident or a wreck, um, and you have a lot of that stuff to do. If I can, you know, help out in the ways I can, and then in the rest of the time, you know, make jokes, laugh and giggle with the guys, and just try to, you know, show, give them in their head that there's a brighter side at the end of this, you know, let's knock it out, and
Yeah,
you know,
bring up the
that's right.
morale. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again for doing
Hey, no
this, and
problem. Thank you.
like I said, hope we'll catch up with you again soon. Thanks for always, being in touch with us too.
Always.
It's great to hear what you're doing. So, we'll catch everybody else on, TikTok and Facebook and YouTube. I want to thank everybody for joining in this Wednesday. Maybe next Wednesday we'll be back to our normal shenanigans, me and the wife. But like I said, I wanted to bring Justin to you guys. So thanks again, Justin.
Thank you.